What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Occult Rejects Rustic Gods. This is actually a special episode of the show for two reasons. Well, probably more than two reasons, but one reason, we have Brandon joining us this evening, Magus in the Media, a fellow reject. We're glad he's here. And also, this is kind of off of the regular, kind of schedule or whatever, the structure of the show, where we talk about a particular deity or something surrounding that, a certain practice or culture surrounding that deity, and then we expand on it. We discuss certain. But tonight, we are talking about how the rustic gods, in particular, European culture, is subverted through Hollywood and the media. I am the host of the Gray Pill podcast, joined by Brandon, Magus in the Media, and my usual co-host, the Hellenic schizo poster himself, Headless Giant. Headless, how you doing, brother? Brandon, what's up, dude?
Good.
It's good to see you.
So we did another experimental remote viewing show on Headless's Magical Mailbag tonight. So if you guys want to hone your remote viewing skills, check that out and see if you can guess what's in the envelopes. So we're going to do that a lot more on the show. Check the show out. Thank you.
Awesome.
That sounds awesome, Headless.
Brandon, is
audience participation.
There anything that you've done today fun?
Oh, thank you. Yes, nice. Yes, I just got done doing a show, my own live stream. Go back and check it out. It basically is the Empire. It goes along with what we're doing tonight. The Empire never ended, and we have to realize that everything around us is just a fucking show. So it's go check out my live stream that I just did after this one. It was a banger, as well as I just came out with Dr. Heather Lynn's interview that I did. That one's wild and definitely goes along with everything.
What? The Anunnaki.
Yes, the Anunnaki revelation.
I remember you talking about that, dude.
Check
that out.
Yeah, it was amazing, and she is a wealth of fucking knowledge, and so she's just doing all kinds of So the Anunnaki revelation, hidden power in the parasitic class. Go check out her book. Anyway, let's fucking get it. Let's get it, boys.
Yeah, man. Guys, go check out also when you have time. I just had Aeon Bite on. We had an hour banger.
Nice.
The Gnostics, the Cathars, how the Essenes may have not even been real. Occult Elvis, Occult Bowie. We talked about his upcoming book on David Bowie, how he received this download, or he went on this spiritual journey on an ayahuasca trip to, he went on a spiritual journey and he received this instruction to write this book. I just found that fascinating. It's so go check that episode out. It's a banger, and I think he'll be on Occult Rejects tomorrow night. So if you don't catch him on my show, you can catch him on Occult Rejects. Yeah, man. And I was gonna say, a bunch of shows last weekend. Last night we streamed The Northman. That was fucking awesome. That was fun. And the show we had before that, I guess you can go check that out. We had Arkeem Ra on.
It was great. I listened to it. It was on Rumble, guys. Everyone should go over and listen to it if you want to hear the dark side of the rejects. There's a crazy one on.
You need some milk.
Yeah, dude, I've never had anyone like that on. That was incredible. He's walking through portals into Epstein Island, and I'm just like, wow. Tell me more, please.
Well, let's just say it's a really important. Yeah, it was a grab. Yeah, bro. He had a grab bag. And it's important why in this journey, I think, is why we shall try to ground ourselves all the time. I think that was a really important dialogue to have, so we understand how deranged one can get. And it goes back to the saying, the madman drowns where the mystic swims.
I like that.
That's what happens when you fucking drown, bro.
Yeah, he stared into the abyss for quite too long. You gotta look away every now and then. But Yeah, last episode I think was on Hestia, guys. Hestia and the hearth. And the hearth was known in many ancient European traditions, and I'm sure other traditions,
Very much.
as the home, right? It's somewhere you come home and you thank the hearth. You know, you kind of air your grievances, right? You have a hard day and you come home, you leave your shoes at the door with your problems. You don't shit where you eat, as Headless said. Yeah. So you don't want to disrespect
Wise words.
the hearth. Yeah. You don't want to disrespect the hearth. What has been done to the hearth? Like as let's think of it, you know, as this genius loci, right? The spirit of the place, spirit of your home. What has been done to it? You know, like it seems like just like everything, they try to subvert it. You know, the actual meaning of it, or they try to interfere and actually implant themselves in your hearth, right? Right. And you can't escape the world because they're fucking there. They've infiltrated into your family, into your house, into your you know, your kids.
From an ancient perspective, nothing is more disgusting than the fireplace on TV, right? That's what they have every Christmas. You know, they've got the little fireplace that burns on the TV, and that's supposed to make you feel like you're at home, or this old classical thing.
That's your Yule log, boy.
That's your Yule log, is that?
I mean, talk about simulation, right? That's the ultimate simulacra from the Baudelairian sense of that, like, idea of like, oh, we're already simulating like life. Now let's simulate a fire in a simulated hearth in a simulated home.
Right.
You know, and then most places it's like the same house, the same place. Oh, and that's the same house, the same place. It was wild.
It's like this person may have a fireplace right under their TV, but because they have that TV, they're gonna go with that digital fire, and it's like that's bastardization of the flame, our actual, like, you know, our internal flame.
That's good.
Our connection with the divine. And so it is, you know, to start off, one of many subversions, guys. So go ahead and like the stream. Be sure to share it with your family and friends. Get grandma in here. Let's Gray Pillar. That's awful.
Dom DeMarco. Exactly. You know, I think it's important.
Oh man.
That's good.
Anyway, Headless, what's first on the agenda tonight?
Well, we're talking about how the depictions of pagan culture show up in our media, and what you'll find a lot on the sort of religious Christian end is they're always saying how much they want to push paganism on our kids. They want to push the paganism. I remember as a kid growing up, my dad had this book called Turmoil in the Toy Box, where they made this really inauthentic syncretism with all of these different toys in the 1980s with being demonic or pagan entities. And they had to really stretch credulity to try and make He-Man into Hercules and all the rest of these other ancient demonic gods, as they would call them. But what's funny about that is any actual depictions of paganism on the television or on the big screen doesn't actually carry positive messages if you're trying to recruit people into paganism, right? So what I wanted to do is go over a couple of these depictions of paganism in the mainstream and sort of break apart what they're really trying to say here. So one of the first ones I had pulled up here was Twilight of the Gods, right? This one was on Netflix.
Subliminal Messenger was watching this on his channel, I think, and kind of analyzing it. He thought it was kind of strange too. One thing I did want to say is I saw a good definition of paganism, or just your noticing your ancestral faith, right, and learn and just trying to learn about it, you know, through a European lens, right, the lens of your ancestors, and not some foreign lens. But you know, is that what is it? There's no conversion to paganism. There's no conversion. It is just finding out who you are naturally, right? And or I don't know if he even used the term.
It's more like coming home. Right? So you're coming home to paganism, whereas you're converting to something else. And even the Christians would say that, right? Because they're saying you have to turn away from your nature, from these things that we want to separate you from. And so in this case, what they're doing with Twilight of the Gods is they kind of made Thor and Odin into the bad guys, right? And so Thor and Odin are going around just slaughtering these innocent giants that didn't do anything to anybody, but it's a merciless Thor, right? And so Thor is going around killing and killing and killing. And at the very end of the series, Odin gets a vision of the future where he is confronted with the idea that Jesus is the new God that's going to take over everything. And so their reign of terror has finally come to an end. And if anybody's trying to convert to, Odinism or Asatru or any of these things, this would not be the show for you. Right? So
let's put this out there that
crazy
Odin is one of the many egregious of the white man, right?
Right.
Odin represents the European white man.
Yeah, nice. I think the correct term is Scandinavian, Jules.
Scandinavian. Well, I mean, hey, you use that with Odin, but then you get into I guess Donar's Thor, but Wotan and Woden and Godin, right? All these
exactly
forms of, and Godin actually, and Stein came on Saturday. We may have brought this up, but we didn't get into it. I do want to talk to him next time about it. Coming from the Goths, this is where the word God comes from, right? Or maybe may have been where it comes from, right?
Right?
Yeah, right, exactly. Well, fascinating. I didn't know this was created by Zack fucking Snyder.
Yes, sir.
Nice. Zack fucking Snyder. Talk about a guy who, he actually is closely tapped into the artist current, and he veers teetering on the edge of state propaganda, but I think is actually hitting on an archetypical current, which is somewhat more true than others. Well, but that's my own.
Confirm something real fast.
Twilight of the Gods. So this was about the end of the pagan era and the beginning of Christianization. Now, what they're not going to talk about in Twilight of the Gods is the 17 million Europeans that were slaughtered during the Northern Crusades.
Yeah, right.
And when the pagans started to win, those crusaders decided instead to raid, rape, and pillage other Christians. So it was a very virtuous time in the Northern Crusades. Now, again, all they show in this version is the mercy and the justice and the peace that comes with getting rid of your pagan ancestors and
that's wild
over to this other thing. And so this is Zack Snyder's sort of vision of what the ancestral gods of Europe are like, and he's not alone. This goes
definitely
all the way back to the Roman times, right? They've been doing this sort of demonization of, again, this is the rustic gods. So you've got the city gods, which were more accepted by the Greeks and the Romans, and then the rustic gods were sort of put down by them. They actually use the term pagano about the rustic gods. So they had different rituals in the rural areas that were put down by the city folks. Yeah. And that's not a pattern that has broken at all over the years.
Yeah, that's crazy. The Aesir and the Vanir, right? In Norse mythology, right? You have the more war, like you said, city gods, and then you have the more rustic, nature.
I think it's funny how it says, I'm reading the Wikipedia, and it says based on Norse mythology. So that sounds like it's pretty based on, like Norse mythology isn't telling us the story of their own slaughter. They're trying to be like, bros, we're getting slaughtered, but we have this like high level of virtue.
Dude.
And you know what I mean? It's like based on, inverted by.
Inverted. That's
the epitome of the spirit is engraved in the Volsunga saga, dude.
Yeah, exactly. It's a beauty. Yeah,
Volsunga saga is, if you want to start off reading the Eddas or whatever, dude, the Volsunga saga will help you understand the Norsemen.
Oh, guys, this was co-produced by an American company and a French studio. And do we know what happens in France?
What?
I mean, you get a first lady who may be a first not lady.
Oh, Macron.
Yeah.
So this is some
sick.
Pretty sick stuff there.
And is he a dude? Because, it became somehow acceptable for her to be interested in her own students.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
I know.
That was a look down on. But if you just sort of say, well, actually, that was a dude interested in his own students, well, that changes everything, right?
Right.
It's inversion upon inversion, and they're, they had that good buddy of Jeffrey Epstein's that was in prison over there that killed himself to get out of any sort of accountability again.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Headless, how the Jotun or the ice giants were depicted as good guys.
Right?
In this series?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the series, they're the good guys, and they're being slaughtered by these merciless.
Shut up!
What someone in practicing a religion would call a demon, of the Norse mythologies. Like the gods weren't the fallen ones. It was the Jotun were the the ones that were trying to destroy Asgard, to destroy. Like all these different these certain myths and whatnot. Then you have Loki coming out of that, right? And you have some people argue that Loki wasn't inserted into that mythos until 12th, 13th century, I think, maybe. I don't know. I heard something about that. It's a theory I'd like to look at, because it would put in this like Satan figure, right? But I think that's funny, because when you look at Abrahamism, right, it depicts the Nephilim as these red-headed giants. These are just Northmen. Let's be real. And so the Northmen, they're fighting giants. Well, wait a minute. So it's like, where were the first giants, right? Like where does the story really come from, and who are the good guys, or the heroes, right? And who, or because it even says that the Nephilim were men of renown, heroes of old. What is a hero? Let's look here. I'm going to look that definition up real fast. Like just what a hero is.
So if you're into Abrahamic conversions, Twilight of the Gods is perfect for you. You can get all of your demonization out and enjoy that. But I've also got another one that relates to the Northmen, which probably a lot of you have seen.
A person who is admired or idealized for courage, outstanding achievements, or noble qualities. I don't know. It doesn't really sound like someone who's fallen to me, or
nobility. Nobility is kind of tough for the people who are producing these things. So instead of exemplifying nobility, they decide to attack instead. And the next one, they
promote cowardice, and
they promote cowardice.
Well, and you see that in Hollywood a bunch, dude. Everyone watching this knows, how a lot of these celebrities are, right?
Yes. And cowardice is one of those words that they are definitely okay with, just as long as they go along to get along, right? And so another right there with the rest of it is this movie, Midsummer. And so Midsummer follows this grieving woman who travels to a remote Swedish village. Again, it's demonizing the white Europeans that really kind of kept to themselves. They kept these traditions alive, and they're not murdering anybody. But then they have to bring in the gruesome, ritualistic human sacrifices. Now, if you read anything about their ritualistic sacrifices, it was of criminals, right? And so if you think
criminals and enemies, people who were actively trying to kill them.
Right. If you think about it, if you've got a execution going on at a prison or something, and they come out and give last rites to the prisoner, that's a ritual human sacrifice too. So they're still sacrificing.
That's
criminals.
Crazy. I think we talked about this. About this the other night, how they had the Last Supper, right? They have the last rites, and then they when they execute you, when I think with the electric chair, don't they have to wet you like they do? And you had mentioned the cow, right? How they would put the water over the cow and it would bow or whatever. Like, yeah, it's some ritualistic.
Right. So here we go. The cult's purpose: the commune Harga holds a 9-day festival every 90 years, utilizing the eternal daylight to mask their murderous pagan practices. Oh, that's not a trope. That's not a trope.
Murderous pagan practices.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they kill babies and they eat them. No, wait, that's our political figures. Sorry.
Oh no, that's our guys.
Whoa, whoa, hey now.
Oh, that's the evangelicals. Sorry.
Right. So, Midsummer really did draw a lot from the artistic motifs of the Swedish pagan people, right? They really drew a lot from the artistic motifs, but none of the actual practices themselves, because that would put them in a good light. And that's not what they wanted to do. So the director and writer himself said, I didn't really do any research for this. I just kind of made it up, used a bunch of the things that I saw, and then I made up a story around it. So it's, again, based off of the Swedish practices, again, with all of the ritual human sacrifice put in there as sort of just an added Hollywood bonus.
There is the one, I think the couple of old age that they sacrifice themselves, but like people don't understand that culture. Like throughout time, there were people, that knew. I mean, I don't know from what I like, not saying that it was okay, because like I said, I didn't grow up in that culture, right? So
no. What about in Canada? What's going on in Canada right now with MAID?
Yeah,
medical
man.
assistance to dying. They're doing it to young people who can't afford their medical bills and they can't afford to live because everything's gotten too expensive for them. So
yeah,
we're making these comparisons.
Self-sacrifice was accepted, but it was usually, there was no one doing it against their will.
Extremely rare.
They weren't brainwashed, and extremely rare. Right.
So again, they wanted to see their ancestors, they wanted to see their family, and they didn't want to drag down the community. It was a ritual self-sacrifice so that they could move on to a happier place and not live in pain anymore. In fact, we do that today. So what exactly are we talking about here when it comes to this voluntary sort of self-sacrifice? Is that because we do voluntary self-sacrifice today? So again, these are the bad guys though, so we need to keep that in mind. Everybody keep that.
Can't you go and kill yourself? Like put yourself in a pod somewhere? And
that's what they're doing. Yeah. And Switzerland and Canada.
Canada and Switzerland, yeah. And mostly they focus on the poor, because if the poor can't afford to live, then
did you see how the fucking one pod didn't work? And it it didn't work, and it tortured this woman. That's crazy.
Where?
In Canada. Right?
Dude, Canada does not give a fuck about
that. Was in Switzerland. Okay.
Okay, well, I guess they don't give a fuck about their citizens.
Wherever it was. Yeah. We're not here to spread disinformation. Go look it up for yourself.
Right. So
and guys, look into, this culture. Like, go read. I don't know where you would find, Well,
this is satanic panic shit, right? So it's the continuous of inquisition of the mind. And I think that's what's so fascinating, that it doesn't even have to be a piece of paper from the CIA handed into Hollywood. It's that you have producers in a room who are all coming up with a storyline, and then it's being okayed by big names like, right, Zack Snyder for the one, whoever this fucking director is for this one. And they're all like, or this one guy who's probably a bloodline family member who's a shitty writer, and who's then then doing shit like this. It's fucking crazy, especially because this is an acid trip. You know what I mean? Like, watching this movie from the occult perspective is like a bad psychedelic adventure.
Dude, I mean, when I first watched it, and yes, Tara, I agree with you there. I think people should look at it logically. Absolutely. Use logic, right?
Right.
Yeah, take your stupid fucking labels off. There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about.
But no, yeah, dude. When I first watched this, I mean, I was in dismay. I was like, oh my God, what are they doing up there? You know, and then, you know, obviously after looking into the culture, I'm like, wait a minute. These people didn't teach this. Wait a minute. This doesn't mean this. And like, then you kind of see like, oh, you know, every culture was doing this, the sacrificing thing, especially back in that time period, to their enemies, in front of their enemies, as a fear tactic, right? Or, you know, as a punishment, blood eagles, right?
Right. Or,
And
you know, bombing a school too, you know, bombing a school full of little girls.
Well, I was going to say, then you have certain cultures that brought in the whole child thing. And when you look at the Molk sacrifice, which is I think one of the original first child sacrifices, where does that come from? That comes from a Semitic culture.
Right. Judges 11.
Oh, nice.
29 through 40.
Yeah.
The Jephthah's daughter. Right.
It was. Nice call. Nice call.
We don't like to talk about that.
There's never any horror movies about any, like, you know, like Kabbalistic cults out there practicing.
Oh, not Kabbalistic, no.
Well, you know, ancient Solomonic or like Enochian magic. I mean, I'm sure there are, but they don't.
No, we're living the movie right now, bro.
Yeah.
That's.
You're in the movie.
You're in the movie. This is it right now. This is how it works.
I want to change channels.
You can't. You only can vibrate higher, and then the radio frequency changes, and then you see it for what they are: shadows on a wall.
Yeah.
Ooh, here we go. And this is one we talked about on the Aristeas episode, guys. Go back to episode 3. We discussed who Aristeas was, and I have still not seen Begonia Headless, but man, I feel like it's going to piss me off.
You're actually saving yourself a lot of cortisol. So this is Begonia came out around Christmas last year, and we did the review of it. Basically, it's a total inversion of the original Begonia ritual, which involved sacrificing an ox so that you could collect the bees that sprang forth from their bones. So it was ox-born. That's what Begonia means, is ox-born honey. And what you're doing is you're doing that to replenish the hives. And this was a very ancient ritual all around the Middle East. And what they did here is they completely Abrahamically inverted it into being about destroying the entire population of humans on Earth to save the bees, right? So the only way to save the bees, right, is to get rid of all people on the planet. And so they completely inverted it. Instead of having the bees be ox-born, born of the sacrifice of the ox, now the planet can thrive because humans are all gone. So complete inversion, totally anti-human garbage. And it was done by a Greek man, so he should have known better. But again, this is about sort of blame shifting everything onto kind of the European culture that existed before Christianity. It was just all sort of a pointing fingers motif. And I really got the feeling like he was doing some major threats, right? You guys stop listening to us about climate change, and now you all have to die. It felt like a threat, right? And so that's sort of what you come away with is this wasn't.
They've been pushing climate change for a while now,
right? You know? But it's not popular anymore. You know, it used to give people a lot of fear, and all of these predictions, all of these prophecies that they made about it turned out not to be true. And so instead of addressing that sort of the climate change, people are now making movies that are more about threats. Right. And so Dionysus was a frightening god, and he was also the inspiration for Jesus. So it's interesting that they would pick him. So in the Bacchae, right, he was a kind of a frightening character. These people were overcome by divine madness, and they would rip people apart, right? Like zealots for this Dionysian god that would lose their mind and rip people apart.
when you look at a lot of these archetypes or these entities, there is this kind of dual, good and bad aspect to it. And it's the same thing when you look at the archangels, man. Go read the original mythologies of who these archangels really were and what they were doing. They were destroying these certain cities, based off who they're, because I discussed this earlier, many times, that the Old Testament is talking about many different deities. It's not just one Satan. It's not just one God. It's all talking about different deities. And you can,
if you kind of keep the Dionysus motif for the way that maybe Christians acted during the whole conversion over to Christianity, you find a lot of divine madness and a lot of ripping people apart. One group that I found reading the book, The Darkening Age, is the Circumsalians. Now, this is not something they like to talk about too much in Christian history, but the Circumsalians are really kind of a scary group.
Was this in Rome?
They were in North Africa. They were Christians. Let me see.
Never heard of them.
There we go. Circumsalians. Now, if this doesn't read like divine madness, I don't know what does. So the Circumsalians were a radical, fanatical 4th century North African Christian sect associated with the Donatist movement, composed of poor peasants and laborers, kind of like the rioters that we see in our cities today that are taking down statues. Composed of poor peasants and laborers, often called rural hooligans, they sought martyrdom through violence, chaotic means, frequently attacking travelers with clubs to provoke their own death. They were known for combining social revolt with religious fervor. The name probably derives from circumsalis, around the cottages, referring to their wandering lifestyle around shrines, also circumcision, right? Donatist connection. They were the militant, fanatical arm of the Donatists, a schismatic group in North African church that demanded extreme purity, violence, and martyrdom. Rather than suffering persecution, they sought it out to achieve martyrdom. These are like the original suicide bombers. They were known to attack and sometimes demand to be killed by innocent bystanders, and in some cases committed mass suicide. Didn't you have something about that? The Israelites. They refused to carry swords as they believed this violated Jesus's commandments to Peter in the Garden of Gethsemane. Instead, they used clubs they called Israelites. So they wrote Israelite on these clubs,
so
and they
beat
around
the shit out of people
until people would stab them to death. They were demanding to be martyred and go straight.
Wow, that's some Frankish shit right there. Talk about what's going on right now.
Wow,
yeah.
Dude.
Holy shit.
They were involved in social uprisings, condemning slavery and advocating for debt cancellation. They sound like communists.
Hey, for what Tyranny said right here, Alex Jones said today that Europe was just savages before Christ. Yeah, everybody is saying that this is being pushed.
That's crazy.
And I'm sorry, but it's bullshit, dude.
He's lost the wheel, I think. And what's crazy is just pagans is anything that's not Christian. And so it's like, oh, so everyone is a fucking savage? Are you kidding? The tales of the old Plato, right? Oh, get this. Like Plato, Socrates, Thales, like the greatest minds, the Neoplatonics, savages. Fucking savages.
Yeah.
That's my problem. It's such.
Fuck you, Alex Jones. You're a savage. You're a faggot. You're a liar.
Nice.
And no, we dude, yeah. And then Tyranny said someone needs to set him straight. Yeah, dude.
No, he can't. He can't set him straight.
I was going to say he knows.
He
knows.
He knows a conversion of reality. Totally. Yeah. But here's the thing: he might get a couple circumsalians out of it, which is very good for their cause, right? He wants to see the martyrs for the cause, and unfortunately, that's going to mean an even greater lockdown. So these guys were rebelling against Rome in such a way that would cause the Romans to come and kill more of them. And, they had that sort of martyrdom in mind, and they wanted pure communism. This is all a proto-communistic movement. You could actually find this in Acts chapter 5, verses 1 through 12, I believe, where you've got the story of Ananias and Sapphira. And Ananias and Sapphira brought all of their worldly goods to Peter, the apostle Peter. And when Peter asked them, is this all of it? And they said, yeah, this is all of it. They immediately fell dead, because they were supposed to give everything to the commune. The early Christian church was a proto-communist movement. You could see
why they fall dead.
Well, probably because somebody killed them, like Peter killed them. But they didn't want to say that. So, yeah, they didn't give all of their money. They didn't give all of their wealth. And so they were immediately struck dead. Now, a lot of people say it's because they lied.
And this is Peter, the first pope, right?
This is Peter, the first pope. But, Acts is kind of a fiction, right? So you just you got to take it for what it is. This is sort of the mindset of the people that were starting these Christian cults. And also you find in Romans 15 verses 27, you see Paul saying, and they were pleased to do it. And indeed they owed it to them. For as the Gentiles have taken part in the Jews' spiritual blessings, so too do the Gentiles owe material blessings to the Jews. So he was using this Christian grift as a way of taking money from these people and basically supporting these communes that went around destroying all of the ancient world. We lost 90% of the literature from the ancient world because people like the Circumcellions would go around just burning libraries and smashing statues.
Yeah, we just talked about Alexandria, and funny enough, Brandon, I asked Brandon, one of the last questions I asked him, the random one was, if he could go back in time and hang out with someone from the past, who would it be and why? And he said Hypatia in Alexandria.
Yeah.
And Miguel Connor just said I asked him the same thing. He said he would go to Alexandria.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Yeah, man. I was just like, dude.
Yeah. I mean, that's where it's at.
Story of Hypatia radicalized me even more, but
it did. I actually saw it in your eyes when I said it.
I know you did. Yeah, man, that's fucking disgusting.
Yeah, it is. It's crazy.
Disgusting.
Well, we haven't gotten to the video games yet. We're going to get to those in a minute, but I wanted to go over Wicker Man. Have you guys ever heard of the Wicker Man?
Oh, yeah.
Isn't there one with Nick Cage?
That was the remake.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't seen the original one, but I've seen the ending.
Have you seen the Radiohead? What is it called? It's called Burn the Witches. It's a Radiohead from their newest album. It's their music video, and it's basically the whole video is the building and then burning of the Wicker Man.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a great song.
I love Radiohead. It's my wife's favorite band.
I didn't know they were still making albums. I'm gonna have to check that out. So
me either.
This was about this sort of same midsummer motif, right? So,
I'll be back. It's okay.
So this is the same sort of midsummer motif. You've got this very rural village, sort of like a Children of the Corn type situation. And they're just waiting for outsiders to come in so that they can sacrifice them in this burning pyre of a Wicker Man. Now, where are they getting this from? This is actually Roman propaganda against the Brits.
Oh.
Wait. Like ancient propaganda?
Yeah, this is ancient propaganda. This is where they're getting the idea of the Wicker Man from.
Oh, wow.
So the Wicker Man, described by Julius Caesar in his commentaries of the Gallic War, first century, is widely considered to be the Roman propaganda designed to paint the Celts as savages.
Wow, yeah.
They're still doing it. Caesar depicted the Druids as burning criminals and innocents and a giant human-shaped wicker figure to justify Roman conquests. Isn't that nice? So they've been doing this for a long time. This is what they did to the Britons. They actually syncretized their religion with the Roman gods, and they did everything they could to try and take away their native gods and give them a more Roman idea. So this idea of the Wicker Man goes way, way back.
Whoa. Headless. Jules, guys, does this mean that Burning Man is burning the pagan tradition to the egregore of the Christians by unwitting useful idiots of like the hippie community?
Look at the tech guys. What is Peter Thiel
Right,
doing
exactly.
now with his manipulation? This is what I was talking about in the chat earlier. They're using
Fascinating.
Bronze Age superstition
Right.
to advance Skynet.
It is.
They're using Bronze Age superstition to advance Skynet.
Yeah. Wow. Yep. Yeah, that's crazy. Nice connection. Nice connection. That's wild. That's crazy. And all these unwitting fools in Burning Man are all like, I'm freeing myself from the man. Literally.
Yep. And they're just grafting. Okay, so know this. Gadarn, who the mighty, is a figure in Welsh mythology often described as a heroic sun-like deity in 18th century and later neo-druidic interpretations. Yeah, this is like sacrifices to who and stuff. And they tried to, like, I've heard people try to, one person tried to link him to Huval, which is like a Jewish interpretation of the Muslim god or something. And I'm like, well, fuck. I mean, it's like, that's why the Muslims are in Europe, is because who? And I'm like, wait a minute. No, stop. Like this, that doesn't make any sense because it means something completely different. And it's not in the same kind of context either. So it's just.
Right. But this is why the word pagan.
And so.
This is why the word pagan still carries the same negative connotations to this very day. Because definitely. This has been an ongoing process. You know, when I associate pagan with anything, I think about the rustic gods and nature. Yeah. I don't think about any of this crap that they're trying to program me with. And this is another great example. God of War, another great pagan video game, right? So again, if they're trying to convert you, they're doing a hell of a job. So God of War follows Kratos, a Spartan demigod tricked by Ares into killing his family and leading him to slaughter the Greek pantheon, including Zeus. Right? So this is all made up. Basically, this is atrocity porn of how to kill the Greek gods. And guess what they did in the sequel? He goes up north and does this to the Norse gods as well, culminating in Ragnarok. And so, you know, for the idea that they're trying to convert you to paganism, they're doing one hell of a bad job of it, you know. And I think what this is meant to do, right? This is my theory on why satanic panic is effective. It's not to recruit you, it's to provoke you. It's to make you angry. It's to make you go out and search for enemies that do not exist and then burn them alive. And this is a common theme with witch hunts and all the rest of this stuff. It's to provoke you. So all of these pop stars
burn all the fucking ginger women, right?
Right. Well, let's look at the difference in Germany, where they had a major, you know, witch burning sort of craze there for a long time, and Spain, where they had a witch burning craze, and England, where they didn't have quite so much witch burning. And what do you find? Oh, there's a lot more redheads over in England, and a lot less of them over in Germany and Spain and France, because they killed them off, right? They're already rare as it is, a recessive trait. And so you sort of follow these lines, and you can actually see the genetic effects of these decisions to have a divine madness going on back then. And it is very linked into the idea of Dionysus. If people actually want to dig into the literature of Dionysus, they'll see the divine madness sort of being used today to spark up an outrage at an invisible enemy, which is the perfect kind of divine madness. It's the same kind of spirit.
Who is Kratos?
I used a minor god. I think it was a Roman thing, but they say a Spartan demigod. But yeah, it's again,
it's like representative of Europeans destroying their own culture, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what's fascinating is also, it's not like they're just getting these things out of thin air. It's not like the Greek mythology was, you know, peace, love, and rock and roll. It's like continuous anger and rebellion and revenge, as well as tales about justice and, you know, and what it means to, you know, try to lift yourself up into kingship. And so but those stories are different because they have the hero's journey, or they have the mythoses of the forces of nature within it. instead of this other thing where it's pure destruction. And what's fascinating is that it's to bring upon Ragnarok. And so it's that it's how much chaos. It's like a modern manifestation through symbolic reference of the acceleration is bringing upon so much chaos until you bring upon a new age, right? That's how Ragnarok can fall.
Yeah, but like kind of what I was talking about earlier with with people celebrating the destruction of their own is also St. Patrick's Day. Right.
Yeah,
mostly
killing of the druids.
Celebrate this holiday. Yes, you are the killing of the pagans or the druids, right? And it's like, yeah, you're getting drunk, so you're filling yourself up with spirits, and then you're in a way disrespecting these. If you encounter any of your ancestral spirits, you're disrespecting them by celebrating this holiday and basically shitting all over it. By acting like an idiot and probably flashing your tits, doing some dumb shit. And I mean, it is, I see it now and it's like, wow, man, that's fucking crazy. Because other people really don't get St. Patrick's Day. They're like, I don't really get the holiday, but whatever, I'll celebrate it.
Yeah. Well, with just drinking until drunkenness, and it must actually help. Who knows? St. Patrick may have knew how to create the egregore to continue to feed the destruction of the old gods. You know what I mean? Right. Through St. Patrick's Day.
So if there was sort of an anti-Christian bias to our society, you'd think they'd make more movies about Jephthah's daughter. Right. Here we go. We got 1909, where it was actually, a tragedy. It was meant to be a sad thing, but this is 1909, 1910, 1913.
This is a movie?
Weird.
Yeah, mostly silent films.
Oh, 1996.
Oh, there's one. 1996. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I bet if we made one today, we would have outrage from one corner.
Oh, wow. It would never get made. It would never get made.
Well, Jephthah's daughter would probably be played by some
Zendaya
chick. Yeah. Zendaya.
I can play a tambourine.
Yeah, dude,
yeah, good. That's good stuff right there.
It's true, man.
God, I can't stand her. Yeah, I know.
You brought that story up last time, dude, about Jephthah's daughter, and I went and read it. And yeah, man, that's
it's pretty clear. I mean, he had the Spirit of the Lord come upon him. I've never
seen this before.
No,
strange.
People don't know about it.
Don't go giving your power to a deity, guys.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Of that deity.
Yeah, very important. I agree. Which is why my problem with chaos magic as such is just for that very reason. Just pick a god out of a hat and start invoking it, and it's just like, I think, utter nonsense.
Absolutely. No, there needs to be some kind of tie or connection or synchronicity in your everyday life.
That's what I mean.
Aligns you with the energy or the personality, the archetype of that deity, right?
Yeah, that's exactly.
You're going to follow that path, and you're going to take that path, and absolutely. And if that's Christ, then that's Christ. But we have to get into this. People who understand Christ, or they think they do, they will disregard the dying and rising sun. The actual where the representation of that comes from.
Yeah.
In the esoteric form, as well as all the other myths that go along with it, and the symbolism that has to go with the 3 days in the tomb, all the mysticism is rejected with it. So it's just like, And
if you reject that, you reject the actual the parts that are actually divine. That's it's as simple as that. I don't understand how.
Hey, Brandon, thank you. You said the part out loud. You reject the mysticism, because what is God? Yeah. What is the creator but a mystery?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Nailed it.
And what they were trying to do with a lot of these myths, a lot of these myths were meant to show you both the good and the bad.
Yeah,
It's not
exactly.
supposed to have this sort of monolithic quality to it. So you talk about Jason and the Argonauts. The guy dies penniless on a beach under the boat until it collapses on him.
Right.
Because, he kind of betrayed everybody and he didn't have anything left to live for. So it's not necessarily all, wine and roses. There's other things that people need to consider when it comes to these adventures, and sometimes audacious pride leads to a fall.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of these things are trying to say, but instead we only get one sort of depiction coming from Hollywood, and it is meant to evoke that fear. Now, if we want to talk about terror,
I was just about to say that's what. Fucking A, Tara. Like that. That is invoked by the fear. Like people don't want to understand, but no, I think they if you're going to follow that path and be true to it, then everything in that paradigm you need to at least look at. I mean, people will not even read certain things, for fear of being possessed. And I'm just like, are you fucking retarded?
Well, technically, you would be possessed with if you don't read it, because then you can be filled full of abstractions by any priest or government. You know what I mean? It's like,
exactly.
Who knows what these priests do in their fucking spare time?
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
And so you're going to receive, blessings from the divine through them or through another man? Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
That comes to our temples, right? And I've explained a lot recently, going with the subversion headless, the horns have been subverted to mean something evil. That's never been the case. The horns were, they were indicative of knowledge, wisdom to the divine,
master connection to the sky,
connecting to our temples, dude. I've explained this. I'm beating a dead temple. I've explained this 100 times. God instilled in us our temples, right, on the side of our heads, on both sides of our pineal. What's the other gland that's tucked in there?
Pituitary.
The pituitary gland, all that stuff, it with inside. And then you see in all of the art, the esoteric art, the aura behind the neck and that chakra, the yellow, right? That emanates like a halo. Yeah, man. And you see that. So like, guys, go research or watch my fucking show or one of our shows. We all talk about occult symbolism, esoteric symbolism, where these symbols originally came from. What they're being used now is a complete subversion or an inversion of what they actually are. And in some cases, in a lot of cases, these symbols are dualistic. It is the intention behind them. And anyone who wants to say I'm full of shit, whatever, that's on you if you don't want to believe that. But that is the truth.
Yeah. Well, the idea is to think about it through the Jungian lens, as you have the fullest actualization of the archetype, and then it splits off to its two extremes, and you get inversion on both sides. But the idea is to then solidify those and become the highest aspect of then that archetype again.
Right. And if we could talk about sort of that dualism, right, it should be noted that, there are way more biblical cults.
Tara, I got to. She's fucking cooking.
I'm gonna come.
Is the person in it? I was reading Hall's, his treatise on magic, right? On the left and right hand path, white and black magic. Hey,
you're fading out. I can't hear you.
That's white magic. It's considered in, the esoteric realm. That's white magic. So. Demons are like, what just happened? Did he just leave?
I think we're having connection issues.
Well,
faded out for a second too.
The primordial darkness is not what's evil. It's what's created, right? It's what we manifest, like, and that goes to, speech and thought. It's way more powerful than we even know. And, it is the person, Tara. You're right. It's not the knowledge. It's the fucking person. Tara's spot on. Tara.
Right.
Tara's profile picture or my sticker pack. It's my sticker. Shout out Tara. She got a sticker pack.
Well, this is if you guys have never heard of this is something to look into. This is like one of the biggest mass suicide cults. Again, back to the circumsalians, right? So the movement of the restoration of the 10 Commandments of God was a Ugandan doomsday cult founded in the late 1980s by Credonia Merwende and Joseph Kibuteri. Based on the alleged Virgin Mary visions, it predicted the world would end in 2000. Again, all of this stuff based, all of these martyrs and stuff are looking forward to the end of the world, right? That's what they're convinced is going to happen. It's a doomsday cult. In March 2000, the leaders orchestrated a mass murder suicide killing of nearly 1,000 followers by poisoning and fire. This is the restoration of the 10 Commandments right here.
Where was this?
Southwestern Uganda.
Okay, because I have a couple cults to pull up after this, cults of Yahweh.
Yep, there's a lot of them. Founded in the southwestern Uganda, the group emerged from a blend of Catholic traditions, emphasized apocalypse end times message. Credo Merwende, former bartender, sex worker, and Joseph Kibuteri, former politician, right, claimed to receive messages from the Virgin Mary through phones and toasters and electronic devices, anything that was plugged in. They emphasized a strict adherence to the 10 Commandments, feared the apocalypse, and believed the Virgin Mary would lead them to heaven. After the world did not end on various predicted dates, the leadership orchestrated a mass killing and mass suicide in Kunagu, Uganda in March 2000. Initially thought to be mass suicide, was later revealed to be mass murder and suicide. The group operated in relative obscurity before the tragedy, with some members having previously split from the church. Guess where this guy is now? He's on the loose. They never caught him.
No.
Yeah, they never caught him.
Who is he? Oh, wait. So the guy that conducted the mass suicide, they never caught him.
Nope, he killed all his followers and went off into the woods. He was done playing these weird,
was he just working for
games? Also a possibility. But anytime you've got a doomsday prophecy, you've got a great quick way into people that are able to be manipulated, because the world's going to end, so you might as well do what we tell you to. Now, that's a common theme that you find in Abrahamic sects, because they're constantly looking forward to the end of the world and for Jesus to return. And it not only makes people docile, it makes them easy to manipulate. And the way the pagans saw the world was a little bit different. It was a constant cycle. It was a constant renewal. You constantly came back. You were reborn. So there would be no point in having these Abrahamic mass death rituals, which is fairly common when it comes to
Jonestown.
Jonestown.
There's another perfect example. Like you brought up, you brought up Heaven's Gate earlier. That goes into a little.
Heaven's Gate was very heavily inspired by Abrahamic
like
beliefs.
Scientology. You could even say Mormonism too, right? Like from their theology.
Got a little of that too.
Nice guy. But let's. I was gonna say. So yeah, I mean, people talk about the Delphi murders, and I get that, but it may be them trying to put. I mean, people can use runes. Right, I talked about this. How Crowley actually, his guardian angel being Iwaz is an ancient rune. It's an ancient Norse rune called Iwaz. That means defense, right? And so this is just him taking some form of European magic and using it, right? Yeah, he started his own religion, Thelema. He had his own, took shit from everywhere and used it, and then he was an agent of the crown as well. We all know. Yep. And then you have these claims of these like white nationalist.
You got to either pull up. I can pull them up for you.
Aryan gang like Wotan,
again, not accurate to the actual beliefs, not actually
exactly.
It's true.
But
they have to.
Then when you look into it, like when we look, what I'm about to pull up, it's it all ties into like this glowy fed operation, Elohim City, right? These pro-white groups, you know what I mean? And then you have like Christian identity like this, because then you have on the other side of it, and I saw this on a Netflix show called Evil Lives Here. Ryan was the leader of a small racist anti-government. This is Michael W. Ryan. And Ryan was the leader of a small racist anti-government group that occupied a compound near Rulo, Nebraska in the early 1980s. Group had loose ties to Posse Comitatus, which is like the Aryan Brotherhood, but a lot of, let's see, Church of Israel, Church of Jesus Christ, the Covenant, the Sword and the Arm of the Lord, Elohim City, Christian Defense League, Aryan Nation, which is in there.
Well, Church of Israel is still around. They practice their weird sort of mix of Christian and Jewish beliefs. They still celebrate Hanukkah, the death of 20,500 Greeks. They celebrate that because they were the true Israelites. So anytime you're sort of taking people out of their roots, right, giving them an end times prophecy, a doomsday cult, and then saying you've got to do these certain practices or else, this figure from the sky is going to be mad at you, you get a perfect combination for divine madness. And we're kind of seeing a little bit of that manifesting today.
With links to the Christian identity movement, some of the main teachings within the group revolved around supremacy of the white race, anti-Semitism, homophobia, the downfall of and hatred of race traitors, drug addicts, and non-European descendant American citizens, and a general distrust of all established earthly authority, especially governments and law enforcement. One of the group's core messages was more or less that the white race was chosen by God and all other human beings are the children of Satan via the so-called serpent seed theory, which we see being pushed a lot right now. And they murdered a child and a man in the name of Yahweh. Like Yahweh commanded them to do it. And this, they were around for a while before this happened. And then, and so there's that. And then there, of course, is the Nation of Yahweh. The Nation of Yahweh is a Black Hebrew Israelite new religious movement founded in 1979 in Miami, Florida. And guys, we're only talking about this because no one else is going to. No one else is going to. I'll lose followers for talking about this. I don't give a fuck. By Hulan Mitchell Jr., who took the name Yahweh ben Yahweh, meaning God, Son of God. The group is known for its Black supremacist ideology, identifying African Americans as the true Israelites and formally preaching that white people are devils. That's what the Jews preach? I mean, hey. And so, yeah, there was a lot of shit.
That's
so
what all
I'm just pointing.
Movies,
it happens.
that's what all these movies and video games
right?
are preaching too, right?
Well,
that's kind of
what I was pointing out was that it happens on both sides. People take these pagan gods and they, LARP as white nationalists or whatever. And, they're either working for the feds or they're fucking spurgs. And, it happens on the other side as well. So just throwing that out there. I'm sure there's way more cults, and that'd be cool to kind of see some of these cults and see what gods they actually, were in connection with. I know when I had Austin Picard on, we talked about the Solar Temple.
Temple. That's the only one I could find that is a mass suicide / death cult.
Yes, yes.
Bases it off of paganism.
Crazy, I just brought that up. Yeah, dude, they base it off all these pagan concepts. It's like, no, these people were wearing crosses. You know what I mean? Like they were all. I mean, they were kind of pushing this like ascended master thing, like you come from this bloodline of this. But when they pushed it off on the news, it was portrayed as this, pagan kind of thing. And it's like, okay,
it's a lot easier to do that.
How long has this been happening now? Fucking 50 years.
A lot longer than that.
A lot longer than that, right? But I'm saying as far as like with the cults and all that, because we know a lot of it, especially if you read Program to Kill, a lot of the serial killers and the mass shooters and the cults, they're all organized, right? It's all chaos, order out of chaos, right? These things have to be put out there. It's just like the fucking, jihadist groups in the Middle East,
right?
They're created. They have a purpose, but they're created by their enemy, basically. They're so beaten down as a people that they're so willing to be taken advantage of, right? And that's kind of where we find ourselves now. Like they expect our sons and daughters to go fucking die for Israel over my dead fucking body.
Well, that's what they're promoting right now in the Pentagon is that same sort of death cult idea. We've got to go invade Iran so that we can bring about the end of the world. So we've got an apocalypse cult running the most expensive army in the world.
Well, I guess Brandon's out for the night.
That's a good place to wrap it up, I think.
This was a pretty good episode of Rustic Gods, dude. We discussed a lot, and you presented some of your research on here, which I have a lot of respect for, you know. Yeah, man, I think, you know, and we didn't even get into a lot of the other stuff. What's that other A24 movie? Hold on, before we get out of here, let's go into some of these A24 films and kind of see. Yeah. I mean, they're all based in Europe. All of them.
They have to be
some kind of white society. Well, let's see who owns A24.
You're never going to see a revival of the Ten Commandments movie talking about the people down there in Africa.
A24 is owned by Daniel Katz and David Finkel. Oh, Scott Belsky, Ravi Nandan. Oh, he may be their Mossad. Look, guys, do your own research. Go see who's putting these movies out. And let's see. I mean, they put out Hereditary. Okay. That's another one right there. The Payman god. Which there you have another deity, some weird-ass group of people. And these people are boomers, right? In this movie. A bunch of naked old people show up at the end. You know, you have, you know, and they take this deity and they, but, you know, apparently she was some ancient pagan queen, sure Scandinavian or something. And it's like, okay, I don't know if that's how that goes, but, and then the thing with the child, with the daughter and her head, that really put the fucking cherry on top. And like, this is disgusting culture, you know, like you go and look into, like I said, do your own research, guys. What was another one?
The Hashashin cult. You want to talk about that one again? It was an offshoot of Shia Islam. If we're gonna be fair to all the Abrahamic religions.
Well, but I will say this. I know there are dark aspects in every ancient religion, right? We're not saying that there's not. We're obviously talking about a certain dynamic that we see pushed in the entertainment industry. I mean, we are, you know, me and Headless, you know, we are on our own, you know, we talk about a lot of esoteric and occult things, but we're also conspiracy theorists at the same time, right? So like it's fine to talk about this stuff, you know, to look at it through this other lens. It should be fine. This is like pure conspiracy, right? Questioning everything from an unbiased lens, or is that gone?
Well, I think
has that been replaced by another egregore of you know, fear all this stuff and, you know, believe what they're telling you, but take it with a grain. It's like, no, dude, fucking, you know, that's why I always say to question everything and quite literally mean it. And that's been the motto of Grey Pilled since the beginning. I haven't changed at all, actually. On my path, I've developed, you know, and I've learned new things. I think gained wisdom here and there. Obviously, once you say you know everything, you know nothing. But you know, man, like I just I don't know. So I think these conversations are important, especially since not a lot of people are having them.
Right.
And it is what it is, you know.
I think it's very important for people to recognize the patterns, right? Doomsday cults, suicide cults, these are very common. That's the theme between all of them, is that they all believe the world is going to end. And so anything they do is justified. Anything they try and pull off is okay, because, you know, the world's going to end. And so that message from the deity or the God or whatever is going to allow them to get away with things that normally would be out of bounds. And so you didn't find a lot of doomsday cults within the ancient pagan world. That was not a very common practice that was introduced. And you find all throughout Christendom, every couple of years, some prophet or some priest comes out and says, I know the date that everything's going to end with the Millerites in New England, where they sold off all of their stuff and they were waiting for this date to come,
and then they engineer this thing to happen, and then they go, there it is. There's the prophecy. dude, you can fucking see it. By this point, if you cannot see it, you might be under mind control. I mean, quite literally. I don't know what else to tell you. Don't take the narrative from people who want to see you dead, right? Or at least question it, guys. That's all we're saying here. That's literally, I mean, I know it's gay, it's cliche, whatever, but it's one of the mottos of the show. I'm bringing it back to question everything, and I mean fucking everything. Get uncomfortable. Never going to be comfortable. If you are comfortable every day in life, then you are you're not living. I don't know. That's what I think. I think there needs to be, we always need to be, especially when it comes down to it, dude, with the questioning stuff. Like, yeah, you're going to be unsure of some stuff most of the time. You may never have the answer for it, but that's part of the journey, right?
Right.
What do I know? I'm just the Mississippi mystic, the Elohim etymologist, the sound scientist, handsome, fat, Hierophant. Oh, almost said it. Almost said it.
All right. Well, this is a great episode.
Anyway,
I'm glad to have you join me and
tell people fuck me. Okay. I'll put my plugs in. Guys, y'all go follow Magus and the Media on X and YouTube. Go support Brandon. He's a fellow occult reject, a fellow bard and mystic, and we love him, and we're glad he was able to join us tonight. Besides Nick, he was one of the first rejects. We're still waiting for you, Ethan. We're still waiting for you. You too, Robbie. But this was a banger episode, and next Rustic Gods, we'll have a Rustic God for you, probably. But we're gonna go off, out of the territory every now and again, and kind of discuss the culture around the Rustic Gods, the gods in general.
It doesn't have to just be Rome and Greece. It can also be the countryside from a lot of different places. Like up in Ireland, there's a lot of rustic gods, so we can cover them.
Celtic mythology it's fascinating. It's something I've yet to look into. Like looking into Albion and all that, like Gaul. Like you see a little bit of it, but man, it's much larger than that. So. Guys, go follow him on X, Headless on _Giant, Headless Giant on YouTube and Rumble. Go get his Rumble numbers up. And then follow me on X at Gray Pilled Pod. Almost forgot it. Gray Pilled _podcast on Instagram. And then YouTube, Rumble, get me past 1,000, please. Spotify and Apple Podcasts, because they won't let me have the Spreaker. And then Patreon, if you want to support Gray Pilled, it's the best way to do it. Patreon.com/Gray Pilled Podcast. Also got merch over on Printify, graypilled.printify.me. Tune into the trialogues on the Occult Reject channel Sunday morning with Headless, Ricardo, and Ethan. And then tune into Gods of the Morning Wood Saturday morning on the Gray Pilled channel. It's a Patreon show, but we live stream it, and then we cut it straight to Patreon afterwards. So if you're not there for the live stream and you're not a Patreon member, you will not see it. Over 50 episodes of discussing ancient, grimoires and treaties and treatises. I don't know how you say that. The plural form. A bunch of books I have and a bunch of PDFs we've discussed, sagas and creation stories, all that fun stuff, and Aquarian Gospel and Mysteries of the Druids, I think, is on Saturday. So that's going to be fun. And then I think we have a show on Occult Rejects at noon. So we'll be cutting off right there before noon on Polish folk magic, which I'm actually very excited to learn about. So, yeah, man. Yeah. So, guys, thank y'all for coming and hanging out with us tonight. Go check out my episode from earlier with Aeon Bite. Go check out Headless's mailbag from earlier. And I guess I'll say, go to Occult Rejects Institute, occultresearchinstitute.org. Yeah. And then you can check out a lot of the rejects over there, what they do. I don't know if I'm on there. I don't have any special qualifications. I can talk about egregores and tulpas. And I could do a lot more than that, but just playing. Anyway, and then go follow the Occult Rejects on Twitter, X, at Occult Friends, and then over on YouTube and Rumble as well. But anyway, guys, until next time, I guess I don't know if I'll see y'all tomorrow, but I think I'm streaming a movie on Discord here in a little bit. Kids are still away. I get to sleep in tomorrow. Well, actually, I don't, but that's my son has a play that he helped with the costume design. It's cool. It's fun. Get to go to the school early and hang out with my fellow. There's a couple dads that are pretty fucking based that they like me. They like my podcast. So, yeah, it's all good. Gonna hang out with them in the morning. But I think we may be doing a movie on Discord tonight. Well, I'll probably fall asleep watching it, but I can set it up on there. And you guys, so if you're on the Patreon, you have that link. I'll send that out on there. Anyway, guys, until next time, stay gray-pilled. Fear nothing, question everything, and stay gray-pilled, guys. Later.